life-changing decisions.
They don't.
Yeah.
Minors aren't allowed to get surgeries or anything like that. If you're under 18, you're not allowed to get surgery.
Well, if your parents consent, in some countries you are allowed to have surgery for different things.
But it's top surgery, and it tends to only really be 17, 16-year-olds that are getting that on very, very, very rare cases, and that's only because they've been getting therapy for years, they've been on HRT, they've done the puberty blockers, and this is something that their parents and various doctors agree is best for them. It's not just like one person goes, yeah, you should do this. It's multiple
100%.
different like specialists and stuff. You need to be signed
100%.
off by multiple people.
No, 100%. It is a long process, but so when I say life-changing, even hormones can be very, it changes long-term the kind of...
I'm actually a trans person that was forced to go through puberty. I'm going to tell you right now, to do that to fucking another trans kid, it's horrible, because I was forced to go through puberty as the puberty I was birthed with, and it was miserable for me. I wanted to unalive myself every day because of how horrible I felt.
I understand, but do you understand that in some cases...
HRT also isn't prescribed until you're 16, and as we all know, when you're 16, you're legally, like, you don't need your parents' permission to do anything. You have, like, your own rights, like your own bodily autonomy. You have the right to decide your own medical care and things like that. So if a 16-year-old, and again, multiple practitioners agree that HRT is best for them, then that's what's best for them. Who are we to disagree with the professionals that have been doing this for years and where there's multiple studies on it?
I understand, but there are some professionals that being a professional doesn't mean that that's the right decision. I think when I was young and I was put on, it's a completely different, example what I'm going to be talking about. But for example, any kid that's put on medication when they're at a very young age, that can drastically alter the way that their brain works. And the new normal, I don't agree with it, because I don't think that the brain is fully developed. And until the brain is fully developed, I don't think that they're equipped to make as such life-altering decisions.
Okay, so I have a question for you then, Blonde. Hang on, I got a question for you. So what if a child, and when I say child, I mean like 8 or 9, goes through prepubescent puberty? Do you know what that is?
Yes.
It's early onset puberty, okay? So let's say, because my child is at 9, okay, age 9, and my child goes through this and they don't feel comfortable in their body. It's causing them severe uncomfortable, all this other stuff, more than the usual, oh, my body is growing and oh my gosh, hair is appearing. Okay, because let's face it, the hair goes everywhere. But if they are at a young age and going through puberty, are you against them going on to puberty blockers?
Yes, because first of all, it's the puberty blockers. They're not equipped at that age to make that decision, regardless if they feel uncomfortable at that time. That might change. Second of all, I don't believe that in some cases gender affirming care should not be implemented. I think that in some cases it is life-threatening, but in a lot of cases it's also very hard to see when it is gender dysphoria or when it lies deeper. And I think that some professionals tend to kind of jump to the conclusion that it can be fixed by gender affirming care, and in a lot of cases gender dysphoria does continue even after transitioning. Now, there are some cases where I believe that gender affirming care is critical, but in a lot of cases I think that professionals jump to that in order, first of all, for it to be easier for them, and also, sorry, go ahead.
Are you just against it for trans people, or are you against it for all genders of kids?
Oh no, I'm against any like any surgery that depends how life-threatening it is. I'm against that, because I don't think that the brain is fully developed. Even
did you just say no matter how life-threatening it is?
No, I said it depends on the life on the.
Right. Sorry, I just misheard you. I was just wondering. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, are you against it for cis kids and trans kids, or just trans kids? That's what I'm asking.
No, both.
So you don't think that cis little girls that are cis that are going through precocious puberty that causes a lot of problems and can be very painful for them? You don't think they should get puberty blockers, which were one made for them and two been proven to work for them?
So once again,
right, hang on.
No, wait. I
Okay.
want her to answer me, Zen. Please, I want her to answer me.
Okay.
So once again, it depends on the circumstances. My view would shift depending on the circumstances, but in a general point of view, I don't agree with anything that could alter someone's life long term and that is taken a decision that is taken at such a young age.
Okay, so I have questions.
I disagree with that statement just because anything can literally make a life-altering decision. Like, you literally stepping out on the road can literally become a life-altering decision because you could get hit by a car. I think it's really dangerous.
I'm having trouble telling where I can
think
come
it's
in.
dumb to deny medical care to young people, which is proven to help them, based on you don't think it will help them in the long run, even though it's statistically proven to help them and scientifically proven to help them.
I think that the cases where gender dysphoria was overlooked onto something that can be fixed so easily, I think those cases are greatly overlooked.
Can I speak?
I have a question. Are you against like birth control then for under 18s?
I am.
Oh,
Is my microphone working?
This is medical.
I'm against it, except if once again it is a medical issue. So once again, as I'm explaining, where for example a woman has very heavy periods and whatnot, because birth control has been proven to cause a lot of issues. There's a birth control pill called Yasmin that now
Can y'all hear me?
that has now multiple lawsuits against them because of the heart attacks it has been causing to young women, and there's actually 3 women on that pill that died. So there's multiple examples I could use. Sorry, go ahead, Collective.
Sorry, wait, can you just say the name of that medicine again?
I believe it's Yasminel or Yasmin.
Okay, thank you. Just so I can just go look it up. I've never heard it before.
Okay, now that I maybe have not forgotten what I was going to say. I'm autistic. If I don't say what I'm going to say, I will forget everything. So, I am trans, and I was a psych major. I want to know what your credentials are. What exactly is your expertise to think that you can make any decisions or debates on this?
I'm very sorry. I just have to go downstairs, but I will be I'm just going to mute myself for 2 seconds because I have to get something, but you guys can continue the conversation and I'll be back. Sorry.
You know, I genuinely think she just thinks people are taking medication for fun and not for reasons.
I just looked up the Yasmin birth control lawsuit thing. So basically what it was they didn't put in their on their side effects part, they didn't make it clear that about the increased risk for developing blood clots. You know, something vast majority of birth control pills actually do cause anyway. So because that wasn't really advertised on their side effects pamphlet, that's why they got sued. It was nothing to do with what it did. It was just because women complained that it wasn't on the side effects. But I honestly, I don't really understand that lawsuit because it's a general consensus that birth control pills cause blood clots. You've got more chance of getting a blood clot from birth control than you do from getting any vaccine.
And regardless of that, it has a
I'm very sorry. I'm gonna have to drop, but I will, if it's possible, if I can join back after. I just really have to go downstairs, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, hang on. Before you do that, hey, kiddo. So if you get your period early, this person is saying that you don't
I
get
can't hear you.
any help with that.
Then just let her go. He just needs to go do something. She's busy, clearly. Sorry. There's no point in trying to speak to her if she needs to go. Just wait till she comes back to make the point.
Oh, I would like to. I mean,
she's not trans, and she probably doesn't even have any degrees.
Yeah.
She's not trans. She hasn't lived the trans life. She probably doesn't have any degrees or research. Exactly. or research.
She's really religious.
She doesn't really know what gender affirming care is either. I mean, it doesn't mean like directly, hey, you're 4. Oh, you need gender affirming care. We're gonna give you androgen blockers. Like that's not how that works. No,
Like,
no one.
Not
every
at all.
kid that gets gender affirming care, so in the UK they're putting new regulations in for puberty blockers anyway. But even before these regulations, you weren't able to just go get puberty blockers. You had to be on therapy, and like it was a case of you had to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria. If you didn't have gender dysphoria, you're not getting puberty blockers. If you don't have that diagnosis, you ain't getting them.
Well,
And
back then it wasn't even
diagnosed
gender
with
dysphoria.
Mhm.
It was gender identity disorder back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
And even with that said, I mean, it's not like I think what she's misunderstanding is that like you don't just hand out medication to be like, oh, you want it, here you go. Like you clearly have a reason to be taking certain medications, whether it be androgen blockers or even birth control. Nobody takes that for fun. Nobody's like, hey, I'm gonna take some birth control today. You know?
Yeah, like I'm not going to share my anti-seizure med
Exactly.
with
Yeah.
someone who doesn't have seizures. Like,
And it's-
I'm not
Exactly.
going to share my albuterol with someone who has perfectly fine, healthy lungs. Like,
And it's,
like,
she's neglecting
the
demonstrative statistics here that show that people who after gender affirming care perform better socially and have less depression. I mean, I can literally give her citations when she comes back. But I doubt she's interested in that.
Oh, me too. I love doing that. That's so much fun. PubMed is a wonderful